Welcome to the Unqualified podcast, where we believe God doesn't call the equipped, He equips the called. This is a space for real, unfiltered conversations about faith, healing, and growth. Because the journey with God was never meant to be perfect, just honest. I'm your host, Paige Loehr, and I'm so glad you're here. Let's begin. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Unqualified podcast. I am Paige Loehr.
I am Danielle Welch.
We are in Philadelphia. Motown, Philly, back again. That was my song choice for my
fourth. This is your fourth blessing to us for singing to us on the podcast.
A rap.
Yeah,
that was rap.
I can't wait for number 5.
It's probably going to be in this episode because we're talking about narcissism today. And the song that pops into my head, and here it comes. It's number 5. It is what it is. I know you think this song is about you, don't you? Don't you? You're so vain.
Yeah, that, oh my gosh, every time I think about a narcissist, I think about that song.
Yeah.
Do you think about the song as the song or as Kate Hudson singing it in a beautiful
How to Lose
yellow...
a Guy in 10 Days.
Yeah.
It's a great movie.
And then he's just up there with her and they're singing it back and forth.
You're so vain. Yeah, I love that movie. That's a fantastic movie. I could watch that.
Yeah, for any of our younger generations, if you have not watched that movie, you don't understand life.
Right.
You need to go watch that movie.
Yeah.
It's very important. Any of those rom-com movies,
staple of our generation.
Yes, any of those rom-com movies from the early 2000s, mid 2000s, you really need to go do your research. The kind of rom-com stuff they put out today can't touch it.
No. Do they even? It's like the whole world is obsessed with like crime stuff right now. So they're not putting out that many rom-coms.
No, they have rom-com series.
Yeah.
Series. Plural of series. They have those.
Yeah.
But there's also a lot of shows out there or documentaries about psychos. No. Narcissists.
Narcissists. So this is bringing us right on back. So it's a hot topic, right? And we're not just talking about it because it's a hot topic. We just decided to start talking about it. We both have our own personal experiences with narcissism, both past and present. And so this is something that we feel like on this podcast, we bring light and language to things. I think what I want to do in this podcast is bring it from like the Christian perspective, the angle of like, I think a lot of Christians are giving themselves permission to like look into it a little bit more. And I don't think it's fair to label everyone a narcissist. So I have like my 3 realms or 3 kinds of narcissism that I'm going to break down, which are, this is me. These are my categories that I have made up from my own brain. They are not scientifically proven or scientific. They're just like, when I think of narcissism, I'm like, which category does this behavior fall in? And so I'm going to talk about that, but it really is just like, I feel like Christians are talking about it a lot and it's a buzz because we've just given ourselves permission to. And I think that's a good thing. You know, when we talk about story work, the more we talk about, when we talk about that again, when we talk about church hurt, church hurt, we talked about naming things. So one of the most important and significant things about your healing journey is being able to name the things that you've experienced, the things that you've been through. And so when you go through, a relationship with a narcissist, whether it's, a parent, a significant other, a friendship, the best case scenario is that relationship, there's some sort of distance or separation, and then you heal. A lot of people consider their healing as like, I've just gotten distance from this person. They're just no longer in my life. But healing is actually processing the things that you went through and being able to name the abuse. Because if you never name it, then quite likely you have agreements that have been made in your own mind and in your body based off of that relationship. Mm-hmm. So what that means is, okay, this narcissistic relationship put you in a position to question your behavior all the time. So I'll just get right into one of my personal experiences. I have two personal experiences that I'm going to cover in this podcast, and one is with my father, and then one is with a relationship that I was in off and on through high school. Cumulative, almost 5 years of a relationship, and that was that's counting even the times where we were off because there was still abuse happening, psychological abuse, emotional abuse. So the first thing that comes to my mind is thinking about the relationship that I had that was in high school. And I remember it starting off so good. He was so appealing, and he was affectionate. What we now have language for, he was a love bomber. Mm-hmm. So very few boys in high school are going to be really direct, and he was really direct. I was kind of a unicorn in the sense of everybody that I went to high school with, most of them blonde hair, blue eyes, 00, 00. They went to Abercrombie and they were 00s, you know what I mean? Everything they got was extra, extra small. And that was just biology. They were all tiny, blonde-haired, blue-eyed beauties, right? And here I am, this Amazon woman, and I've got curves and I've got curly hair and I'm mixed, but, I fit in-ish. Mm-hmm. I stood out, I remember when he approached me, he was just very aggressive, very, I like what you're working with, what you got going on. Finding out that I was mixed, that was a plus to him, whereas a lot of people, it was oh, that's interesting. It was just he loved everything that I was working with, and he was very upfront about that. Mm-hmm. And so for me, I don't know, that was very flattering. I really enjoyed that attention. Obviously, my father was not in my life. He was in and out. He was an addict. And so I was not getting that type of affection and attention from him, the other narcissist in my life. And so, yeah, he caught me, right? There was some things that happened in our relationship. He was very possessive, but I took that as a good thing until it wasn't, right?
Yeah.
So then some things happened that I was very upfront and honest about, and then he spiraled. And I was spiraling, and that's why these things happened, because my grandmother, who battled with cancer for multiple years, passed. And so I was spiraling. Some stuff went down. I took responsibility for it because I didn't know how to name things. Mm-hmm. So that's a whole nother episode. But anyways, something happened to where I was a victim, actually, but I didn't have that capacity to process that, name that, or anything. So I go to this boyfriend and I'm like, hey, I did this. We should probably break up, right? And then it was from that point on, everything that happened was my fault because I hurt him first, right?
Yeah.
You look back and you see so many other variables, but so then the abuse started and everything was my fault. So it would be we're riding in a car, everything's good, everything's going well. All of a sudden I say something and he's triggered, a switch goes off, and the whole day derails. And he's either being, aggressive verbally or even sometimes physically. And in my head, it's, I need to get better at not saying the things that upset him. This is my fault. Mm-hmm. So then, because I named that, I got to come out of agreement with, I have to walk on eggshells in my intimate relationships because I have the tendency to upset my partners, or I need to be more careful in the things that I say. I've come into agreement with, I'm wrong. I need to be more mindful. I need to be more careful. I'm the one that hurts people. right? So all of these things are agreements that I had made. There's so much more. I could sit here and unpack this for so long. I'm just trying to tell you the importance of naming things, because then I got to, when I entered into the relationship that, you know, with my husband, which is now a 16-year marriage, that's been very healthy. If it wasn't for some of the naming and understanding that I did in my prior relationship, then I would have walked into that relationship. Even though I believe it still would be healthy, I would have had so many guardrails that would have prevented us from intimacy, and it would have just made our relationship difficult. I had been able to say these certain things were not my fault. I am not bad.
Yeah.
I do not hurt people. Like, I wasn't completely innocent, right?
Yep.
But I had to name certain things to walk into my next relationship or any of my relationships and say, like, I'm not just the bad person that hurts people, but that's who I was in that relationship.
Yeah.
It was always my fault. He went down the path of drug abuse, in and out of jail, and his parents thought it was my fault. He told me it was my fault. I believed truly it was my fault. Until finally we're out of a relationship. We're no longer seeing each other, and he's still in and out of jail. And I'm like, oh, so wait a minute. Why is he still in and out of jail? If I'm no longer in his life, why is he still in and out of jail? So it was like, that is what kickstarted naming it.
Yep.
But like, it was helpful. So does that make sense?
Makes complete sense. What you're explaining is the effects that a narcissist will have on your mental space. And it's completely blindsiding to most people. You don't realize it.
Right.
Especially in relationships whether it's a boyfriend-girlfriend type relationship or parent to child or peer to peer. Because you care about that person, at any degree, like, you care about their life, you care about them emotionally. We can be more susceptible to taking on this burden from a narcissist of like, is it me?
Right.
We start to second guess ourselves, which is what you're explaining was happening.
Yeah.
Who you are as a person, your identity, your actions, everything gets called into question because of the way that they are behaving towards you, the way that they're talking to you, the way that they cause you to question yourself.
Right.
That is I think what you just painted this great picture of is the mental playground, the playground in our mind when we are in relationship with a narcissist.
Right.
That should identify with some people.
Yeah.
Take out certain details, put yourself in there. But I think if you've ever called, like, over time, called to question, like, am I a bad person? Am I this? Am I that? Reflection is important, of course, like with yourself. But as we continue to go, like, you're going to start to identify with it. So what you did, you just helped me and other people see this is the effects mentally that a narcissist can begin to have on you.
Yeah.
And for you, it was at a very young age.
Yeah.
Formidable years.
Yeah.
That had you not done work in your early adulthood life where you could be today.
Yeah.
And most people, I think, in my experience, if you've dealt with a narcissist in your adult life, you probably dealt with one in your younger years. Yeah. It showed up differently.
Yeah, and what's crazy is that, my dad is very charismatic. He's a love bomber. He makes you feel really good. He makes you laugh. He is more innocent, and so this is kind of like the categories. I have 3 categories. This is just how I place, okay? So I say accidental narcissist, clinical narcissist, or spiritual narcissist. Okay, so accidental narcissists for me are the people that, man, if you showed them their behavior in a mirror, they would actually be hurt, which doesn't, like, it doesn't fall into clinical narcissism because they cannot self-reflect.
Yep.
They will not look at themselves, cannot.
Yep.
But there are people that are just wildly selfish and hurt people and display narcissistic characteristics, and it's a pattern learned because they either had a narcissistic parent or they experienced trauma that makes them perpetually selfish. My dad probably had a measure of both, but it's like every conversation is about him. He can call me today and he might say, "How are you?" And that will be the only question he asks me before he goes into saying what he's doing. Then, "Oh, don't you know, like, I know I messed up, but this and this and that, and I was hurt and my dad hurt me." Literally just a spiral.
Yep.
It's like, I would know that he was a healthy and safe place for me to start investing into a relationship with him if he just was like, "So how are the kids?"
And asked about you.
And asked about me.
And never took everything you said and turned it back on, "Oh, well, this is going on in my life." Or
Right.
this
Right.
about me.
Right.
It's not a door open. The question
Right.
wasn't a door open to them just wanting to talk about themselves.
Yeah, exactly.
Been there.
And then it's like you answer the phone and then you just get unloaded on. You know, and I don't have time for that. Literally don't have time for that. And it's just emotionally draining because then it's like, we're not talking about any of that. Like, the past is the past. Yeah, we could talk about that if you were healthy to talk about that, but you're not even in a healthy spot. So it's like, but if there was a point of reflection, I think it would break his heart to know that he's caused so much. I think it does break his heart because I think he does know, and he wants to explain it away. So there's the people that are like, man, if you sit them down and you are able to explain something to them, it actually grieves them and it hurts them. But by happenstance, through trauma, generational curses, or how about this? Someone who's actually gifted, talented, charismatic, maybe didn't get the attention that they wanted or needed, or they did. They were always praised. They were the golden child. Then they go into a career that, for whatever reason, gives them all of that.
Yep.
And they feed on it.
Yep.
And so it was accidental in the sense of, like, it created a monster in them.
Yep.
That is just, it's a perpetual cycle.
Yeah.
And they can't identify it. They don't know. Like, you go into a career where, you excel and you get a lot of attention. You get a lot of accolades. You get a lot of praise. People put you on a pedestal. People worship you. People serve you. People do this. And so then it's like, oh my gosh, you love it. The people around you love it. And then it's like, yeah, so that's my accidental narcissism.
And they don't even know it's like they really,
truly.
Like, I think that for me, an accidental narcissist is the one type of narcissist that I can have a little bit of grace for.
Yeah.
Just being honest.
No,
like,
yeah, for sure.
Like, I guess with the clinical one too, I don't know, but I'm more likely to extend a heart of grace towards an accidental narcissist in my life because they know not what they do. They are naive to it.
They are naive to it.
But like you said, if you had the opportunity to show them a book or a mirror of, like, these are the things that have happened, that this is narcissism, they would be appalled. Maybe defensive, like naturally most people are when they get corrected on things, but like, it would grieve their heart, like you said. That type of narcissist is the one that I'm like, I feel a little bit bad for them.
I'm not going to tolerate the behavior, so I'm going to have hard lines.
You're going to protect yourself and have boundaries.
But I do have grace.
Yep.
I think a lot of people would look at my relationship, even with my dad, and think that I don't have grace. I love the man, and I do have grace for him, and I empathize with him. I just have to have boundaries.
Yeah.
Because he's just unaware of the way he affects me, and I'm not going to allow him to affect my children. And so, it's definitely the category that I have the most grace for.
Yeah.
And I can be in a functioning, acquaintanceship.
That's a good one.
Relationship with someone who's an accidental narcissist, and I just have boundaries, mental boundaries.
Emotional boundaries.
Yes. I will not let them cross these lines. And you can even train somebody like that to know, like, I can't cross that boundary with Paige. I can't walk all over her the way I do with some people, but I can enjoy this relationship. So that's the boundary. Clinical narcissism for me is like, so once again, this is just my categories. This is, if I am dealing with a narcissist, I'm going to find the placement for him, because then I'm going to know how to deal with them. So these are the three places that I put them so that I can know how I'm going to handle it. Once again, the accidental narcissist, I can have so much grace for it. I just have to put these boundaries in place, and I just have to be like, oh, it's like oh, bless your heart. You don't even know, right? Bless your darling heart, but I'm not going to allow you to do that to me.
Right.
Okay, so then the clinical narcissism is like, oh, you know. Mm-hmm. You are calculated. Mm-hmm. You know exactly what you're doing. Mm-hmm. I see you. Mm-hmm. And not only it's not that I don't have grace for it, it's that they would take your grace and they would stampede all over it. They would find ways to stampede all over it.
Yep.
So they would see grace. They would find ways. You have identified how they love bomb. They will find other ways to get you to be vulnerable with them again. Mm-hmm. And then they will exploit that, and they will continue to do that until you have 0 points of entry anymore. Yeah. So they are when I say clinical, I don't even know if they medicate for narcissism, but
I've researched.
Okay, so they don't, but it's a diagnosis, right?
Yeah.
And it would be someone who, if they sat in a chair and a therapist was attempting to hold up a mirror, they would find ways to work that therapist.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Or they would do the crocodile tears, fake emotionalism.
Yeah.
And they would work their way out of it.
There is no medication specifically to treat narcissism, but drugs can help manage co-occurring conditions that pair with narcissism.
Like
depression,
probably bipolar.
Anxiety, mood instability.
Yeah.
Psychotherapy is considered the main treatment for narcissistic personality disorder.
Okay.
Psychotherapy.
So they
have to have a very good psychotherapist.
Psychologist.
That knows how to work with narcissists.
Yeah, so...
Which is also funny because that narcissist would have to come to the table willing to do the work.
Yeah.
Which is already that would be a miracle in itself.
Yeah. I watch all these podcasts where they're like, they don't change. They don't change. Yeah. And once again, I don't believe that people change. I believe that people are transformed through Christ. Mm-hmm. So there's a difference, right? Like, I evolved because I transformed through my relationship with Christ. Yeah. I didn't just change, Yep. So a narcissist from my perspective, my category of clinical narcissism, what they do is they evolve and they are smarter. Mm-hmm. They don't change. They become, let me wait for the word because it's right there. They become more elusive. Mm. They train the people around them and they train themselves. Oh, they caught me here. So the points of entry is
That's really good.
Yeah. So the points of entry is I got you through love bombing this time. No, that no longer works. I got you through me being vulnerable. That no longer works. I got you through allowing you space to be vulnerable and confirmation bias and validation. Oh, that no longer works. Okay, what are my other points of entry? I'm getting along with everybody else. That's not working. So it's like they try to find the points of entry until they no longer can. But typically they have everybody around them trained to see them how they want to be seen, how they want to be viewed. And when they can no longer train you, then you're public enemy number one to them. Mm-hmm. And however they handle that, whether it's trying to destroy you, or trying to completely shutting you out, however that is. But so clinical narcissism for me are the people that are very intentional. They know what they're doing, and they could never say, I'm a narcissist. They can't look at themselves. They avoid accountability at all costs. Yep. If you tell them that they've hurt you, they're going to say, but you've hurt me so much. Yes. Or, oh, I'm sorry that hurt you, but the fact that I hurt you has been so hurtful to me.
No matter what you do or say, I'm going to find a way to make myself the victim.
Yeah, that was hard for you. I see that. I recognize that. Just so you know, it's been so hard for me to this has been so hard for me.
So anytime that I've experienced in a conversation like that with somebody that is a clinical narcissist, the way that we've categorized it, by the way,
right.
It's like, I'm wanting to share with you the way that you hurt me, and immediately it's I'm not trying to shame them,
right,
but what they put back on me is shame for me
right.
feeling hurt,
right,
and it becomes this like rejection of the accountability,
right,
it shows up as like they are going to reject the accountability, but what they're going to put back on you is shame and guilt for you feeling the way that you feel.
Right.
Victims of narcissists oftentimes feel bad for feeling hurt.
Right.
And that is a huge weapon that gets
Gaslighting.
used. That's gaslighting.
They not only gaslight you, which is like making you feel like your experiences weren't real.
Oh my gosh.
And your feelings aren't valid.
Yeah.
Or the way you feel hurts them. Or they train you to gaslight yourself, which is you're over here thinking, maybe this isn't real. Maybe I'm overthinking it. Maybe I over-dramatized it. Maybe I'm making a bigger deal out of this than I should. Maybe I'm overreacting. All of these, maybe this, maybe that. So a lot of people don't understand that so these are terms that are thrown out a lot. And then when you start using terms like these, it makes people uncomfortable. I get it. I never try to speak above people. I hate that. That's like one of the most annoying things in my life. So, but it's just, so gaslighting is just when I share my experience with you and you diminish it. Okay. But we do that to ourselves more.
Oh, it really wasn't that bad, Paige.
Yeah. Right.
Did I really do that?
Or that was so long ago, and you're still dealing with it because that makes you feel diminished.
So that's gaslighting
Yeah.
one person to another.
Yeah.
Think about the number of times that you've done that to yourself, where you're like, it wasn't that bad.
When you've been in a narcissistic, abusive relationship,
Yeah.
you're going to gaslight yourself more.
Yeah.
So honestly, that's a pill that is a piece of self-reflection that you do need to do, because you can be like, oh, don't gaslight me. And honestly, it's a little bit of a projection in the sense of like, they don't really even have to do that anymore.
Yeah.
You're doing that to yourself. I react so heavy to gaslighting because I've already done it to myself so much. And I am speaking up. If I speak up, it's after pushing through my own gaslighting. So that's why it hurts me and makes me so upset, because it's like, don't do that, because I just talked myself out of that.
Yeah.
So you're too close to making me get back into agreement with something I just had to. Don't diminish how I'm feeling, because I've already done that enough.
Yeah.
So it actually is more triggering to me just because of how much I do it to myself. So that's the clinic. So clinical is basically just like, I put them in the category of, it's not accidental for them. They don't have this story of trauma or this generational curse that kind of puts them in this box, or just this happenstance of like, whatever type of idolization that happened because of, they were worshipped in some way and they just got put on a pedestal. Like, it wasn't just this, it was like this life of superiority, and it's just, they're calculated. They know, it's like they know what they're doing, but they don't. It's more of like, okay, they know what they want from everyone around them, and they are unwilling to let anybody mess that up, and they will destroy anybody in their path, and they can't. So, and we haven't mentioned empathy. They cannot empathize. So accidental narcissists, if you slow them down, they can empathize. They can. Clinical narcissists can't. And if they do, it's pretense, it's fake, it's they'll get emotional, but you won't see a tear fall.
Yeah.
Because it's the crocodile tears. Or not crocodile tears. It's the crocodile tears are the big tears, right?
Yeah.
It's the fake tears. It's
I want to say chameleon, but I don't know what to say.
My voice is cracking and breaking.
Yeah.
But like no tears are coming out.
Yeah.
They will put on a show.
Yeah.
But they still, in their words, will say, "But this hurts me so much," or I'm so sad. Not I'm so sorry. I'm so sad. I can't. Me. This has hurt me.
Yeah.
I've been so hurt. Oh, there's been a strain in our relationship, and it's been so hurtful to me. So it's like, it's just all.
I think part of the inability to have empathy for that type of a narcissist is also they live in a different reality than you do.
Yeah. Yes.
They can't relate.
Yeah.
Because they don't see things.
No.
The example of the person that grew up in an environment that praised them, and then they get into the career, they don't see the world the same as somebody who's never been praised.
Right.
Somebody who had to, who has to do everything for themselves or whatever. Yeah. Like, their realities are different.
Right.
And their narratives are different.
Yes.
So the lack of empathy is, they can't. What is empathy? It's being able to feel what other people feel, put yourself in their position. They can't do that because they live in a different reality. Right. They're in a different meta universe than other people. Right. Their story, their narrative, it's always through their lens. Right. Oftentimes they're the victim. Right. I think that's a part of it.
Right. Yeah. Whenever they're caught up, they are the victim in their head. Mm-hmm. Victim of circumstance. Oh, they messed up and they got caught. Well,
it's because of this.
Yeah.
There's always
this is how that happened.
It's like
instead
you said
of just
earlier.
Like I screwed up. Well, this is the path that led to that.
Yeah. There's an explanation for everything.
Yeah.
There's a reason behind everything that deflects from them accepting accountability.
Right. And especially if they allow you to accept any responsibility in hurting you. Mm-hmm. I hurt you. Well, this is the path that I led down. And, oh, well, I also contributed it in this way. Mm-hmm. And if they allow that, that's just, that is a whole subtopic that I didn't even mean. That's a can of worms that I didn't mean to open. But just to say it, if I hurt you and I know that I need to apologize, I'm going to say, I'm sorry for how I operated, the way that affected you. Oh, I know I've been crazy lately. No. Hey, my behavior was unacceptable. The way I handled that situation was unacceptable. My lack of care in that situation was unacceptable. It's like, you can allow people to say their piece on the end of it, but you can't allow them to, in their head, say, well, I did something to receive that type of harm. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. I gotta leave that alone. I've seen, not just in my own relationships, but I've seen in other relationships where, this party hurt the other person, especially in marriages or, intimate relationships. And it's like, oh, this party was the abuser, or this party was unfaithful. And it's like, well, this is how I contributed to that issue or that my abuse. It's wrong.
The abuse that occurred or that happened to me was warranted because I did this first.
So and that's, it's like,
or I made them feel this way.
Domestic violence victims. Yeah. They have so much to work through because their language in the beginning is always going to be that. It's always going to be like, well, they hardly even want to say what happened to them because they're thinking about what they did to cause it. Yeah. Okay. Well, then people also don't, that's horrible, right? Yeah. In any scenario where a woman or a man is abused and they say, no one's going to allow that. Mm-hmm. No one in their right mind is going to say, oh yeah, I can see how that led to him slapping you across the face. Yeah. You probably shouldn't do that anymore. Yeah. You might say, hey, until we get you out of there, try to, you know what I mean? Let's do everything we can not to poke the bear before we get you out. Then once we get you out, hey, none of that is acceptable. Yeah. It's never acceptable. Yeah. To harm you. It's never acceptable to call you out of your name, let alone physically harm you. Yeah. So you have to rewire somebody's mind to get them to understand, no, it is, you did not contribute to that in any way, shape, or form. for someone to put their hands on you is unacceptable.
Yeah.
It is never okay.
Yeah.
Especially when you are the vulnerable party, for them to be such a predator, to know that you're weak, to know that you're vulnerable, to know that they're stronger, and them to harm you, it's unacceptable. It's just like child abuse.
Yeah.
No one would ever say that was warranted.
Yeah.
You can't, like, because it's wrong,
Yeah.
and we all know it. But then we look at situations of unfaithfulness, and that's abuse. It's abusive to be unfaithful to your partner. And then we'll say, oh, well, I did this and this and this. And people around are like, oh, that's so brave. Instead of saying, it is absolutely unacceptable for that to ever happen.
Yeah.
Because in our minds, because being unfaithful in society, unfortunately, is so normalized.
Yeah.
But like, man, you cheat on me and it's going to feel like you smacked me in my face.
Yeah.
Right?
Absolutely.
So we go tell our friend.
A dirty slap, too.
Oh, real.
They put their hand in a pile of mud and just said, ugh.
And they cut you out, you know?
Yeah.
It's just, yeah. You know, so like, why don't we, and especially in Christian culture, why don't we say, hey, no.
Yeah.
Nothing makes that okay.
Yeah.
Nothing makes that acceptable. Nothing makes that right. You did not contribute to that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Your behavior that you're naming as a contributing factor to your spouse being unfaithful is just behavior that gave them an excuse.
Yeah.
It's behavior that for a healthy person is just like, hey, let's work through this. Let's talk through this. This is not feeling good to me. To an unhealthy person, it's, oh, you're not feeding my ego.
Yeah.
I'm going to punish you for that.
Yeah.
Or either I'm going to punish you for that, or I'm going to go get it elsewhere.
Yeah.
Either one. You didn't do what I needed you to do, so I'm going to show you what it feels like to be hurt. Or you are not giving me what I need, and so I'm going to go get it elsewhere. Never is that acceptable.
Never is it acceptable.
So it's like, why is infidelity not the same weight as why don't we call it abuse?
Right.
Because it's abuse.
Yeah.
It's abusive.
It is.
So,
infidelity is a form of abuse.
yes.
Domestic violence, physical harm, a form of abuse.
Right.
Narcissism
Right.
is a form of abuse.
Right.
And I love what you're doing here. And I like how you're setting this up.
Yeah.
Like, you've got to see, like, especially if you are somebody as a victim, like, you may not know that you're a victim of a narcissist.
Right.
But you can see it clearly when you're a victim of infidelity.
Right.
You're a victim of domestic violence. Like,
Right.
you can see it because it's physical.
Yeah.
Sometimes narcissistic abuse does become physical,
Right.
but it's all starts here. It's the mind games that
Yeah.
a clinical narcissist knows how to play.
Right.
That's how we got to here.
Right.
This is like you were showing the different ways that clinical narcissists can get in with somebody, and they can find the way to come and do
Yeah.
what they need to do.
Right.
And cause this pain.
Right.
And as a victim of narcissism, we oftentimes have a hard time naming it.
Right.
Because it's up here.
Right.
You can name physical abuse because you're bruised.
Right.
You got a black eye.
Right.
Your partner left you. They were with
Right.
somebody. You can physically see it.
Yeah.
But because of what's going on up here,
Yeah.
that's why this is such a dangerous thing.
Yeah.
And in the Christian culture, because it doesn't get talked about a lot, because it's seen as gossip when you start to talk about it.
Yeah. We need to get there. Yeah.
And it's like you begin to question yourself, and it becomes this
Right.
perpetual cycle of like, what is going on?
Right. But any type of accountability you take in somebody else's behavior means that you are going to always think about that,
Yes.
right? So let's just say you're in a relationship, this person does something, whether it's abuse, physically, mentally, verbally, infidelity. Okay, they take accountability, or they recognize they were in the wrong, they want to work through it. But you take accountability over here. It's just like what I was talking about before. There is abuse that happened in my life, sexual assault that happened that I couldn't name, or I took accountability for.
Yeah.
So I never healed because I never placed the accountability in the right spot. So if you at any point in time accept accountability for even a sliver of their behavior, then you're always going to be thinking about that in your life.
Ooh.
So if any of your behavior falls into the category of this is something I took accountability for, then even if they're not doing anything, it's still in the back of your mind. Oh, I was degrading him and not supporting him the way I needed to. And so you get 5 years out of that situation where he harmed you, and you're like, hey, you XYZ, you're trying to hold him accountable for his behavior in your relationship. It could be simple, like, hey, you haven't been taking out the trash. Well, because of the accountability you accepted, the agreement that you came into, then you're going to be in your head like, oh man, okay, I need to take it easy on him because I don't want to nag, I don't want to degrade, I don't want to XYZ, whatever it is. I'm trying to be broad.
Yeah.
But do you know what I'm saying? Where it's like, I took accountability for something in my own harm. And so so now I'm in agreement with it.
Yeah.
And so that agreement is going to stay with me the rest of my life as long as that person has accepted that accountability, which a healthy person would say, absolutely not.
Yeah.
You did nothing wrong.
Yeah.
Not because none of the things that you were saying and doing in our relationship were harmful to me, but none of it ever makes what I did okay.
Yeah.
So they accept your accountability. You were accountable. And so that's an agreement. Gosh, man, that's a whole subtopic I did not mean to get into.
Yeah.
So I'm going to move on because it's just like the third type of narcissism, spiritual narcissism. So this for me is when you're kingdom people. So we're all kingdom people. So this is why this category is important, because the enemy uses people that are just kind of in a place of natural selfishness, and he weaponizes them through narcissistic behavior. And so I feel like any narcissism in my life is a spiritual thing because, they could be accidental narcissists or they could be clinical narcissists. But at the end of the day, because I'm a spiritual being, because I operate in the kingdom, and because, that spiritual realm, like the Bible says, like, this is not flesh and blood. This is warfare and principalities and dark forces of darkness, right? So now I have to take those two categories and I have to subject them to the fact that I'm a spiritual person. So this is a spiritual attack.
Yeah.
So then that puts a different type of weightiness on it, in the sense of like, I will tolerate it even less.
Yeah.
Because you are being weaponized as a personal assignment to keep me from what I am called to do.
Yep.
And that is unacceptable.
Yes.
And it is wicked. And that's where you can name it even ever so severely. That doesn't mean you're coming at them, you're attacking them. That doesn't mean you're even doing anything. You're just labeling it a bit more toxic. You're taking it, it's like the toxic waste. You're putting a sticker on it, and you're saying this is toxic waste and it must be discarded and you cannot touch it, because you're owning the weightiness of what that relationship could potentially do to the calling on your life.
Yeah.
You're labeling it so that you are mentally, emotionally, spiritually aware that this person is on assignment to diminish my assignment. And I cannot let that be.
Yeah. You gotta, okay, so, gosh, that first and foremost makes me think about, okay, well, this Christian that's going to name it and not tolerate it on a spiritual level, they better understand the authority that they're walking in.
Yeah.
And I think that is lacking in our culture for Christians.
Yeah.
Because I think what you're speaking to, you're able to say it so boldly, and I'm able to hear it and do the same thing for myself so boldly in faith and authority, because we have exercised that.
Yeah.
We have built that spiritual muscle.
Yeah.
A lot of Christians aren't.
Yeah.
So this is a call to arms.
Right.
To walk in your authority.
Yeah.
Because you can identify it. And of course, it's almost like it is spiritual, like the spiritual aspect of the narcissism. This specific category is more severe than clinical.
Yeah.
But it's severe in the sense of, because it's a sense of awareness in us as Christians as to what the root of it is.
Right.
Where it's coming from.
Right.
And what its assignment is on us.
Yeah.
So I think it's important, like, you have the authority to recognize it and to put it in its proper place.
Right.
I think that I needed to say that.
Yeah.
Because I think there's some Christians that don't walk in authority
Right.
at all.
Right.
They're Sunday goers or
Yeah.
they're tiptoeing on, like, is this okay? Like, or people that give the principalities and powers of darkness too much
Right.
weight in their life.
Right.
They give it authority and like
Right.
that they don't know how to combat it because
Right.
it's this big bad scary thing, and it's like, no, stop.
Yeah. And,
Absolutely not.
and I'll paint the picture of authority so that people can understand it. Authority is your identity. If you don't operate in authority, that just points to me, it just points out to me that you're still in an identity crisis. You don't know who you are or whose you are. So plain and simple, God has a table. You sit down at it because you're a believer. You're a Christian. So he's prepared a place for you. You sit down at his table. You either know who you are or you do not. If you do not, that's like an orphan spirit, and you're like, throw me a bone. I accept scraps. Like, I am not worthy. I am unworthy. Somebody sits down at the table next to you, starts talking trash. You're like, I can't say anything. I got to be quiet. Meek, whatever. But if you sit down at that table and you know who you are, you know, that is my Father. Not through adoption, maybe through adoption, but now I'm bloodline, I'm blood bought. That is my Father. This is my inheritance. This is my table. And you sit down next to me at my Father's table and you start running your mouth, it's going to be, I don't need to tell my dad. A lot of Christians will be like, oh, well, that was hurtful, that was harmful. Maybe I just got to tell my dad about it. And I got to submit it to him. And it's like, yeah, that's okay. That's okay, part of the process. But it's still like you're an orphan. Princes, princesses, they know that they wield. They know that they carry an authority that they don't even need to submit it to the king.
Yeah.
It's like, oh no, you are not allowed to speak to me like that.
Yeah.
You need to get off. You need to get off of this. You need to get up from my Father's table.
Yeah.
You need to get up from this table that is mine through inheritance. You don't belong here.
Yeah.
I belong here. You do not.
Because they know what it's the inheritance.
Right.
They know what is for them.
Right. So authority is not something that you have to figure out. Authority is something that you have to receive, in the sense of just paint that picture for yourself. And if you're sitting down at God's table and there's any part of you that is meek and lowly and I shouldn't say anything, or I can't handle this myself. Yes, I still probably will say, hey, God, man, this person tried to sit at the table and that was messed up, but I handled it. Anything else that I should do differently? How do you think I should handle that in the future? How do I keep them from sitting down at my table, at our table? So that's the communion that I have with God. It's not like I don't ever talk or commune with God because I have the final say or authority. It's just that I don't have to always in that moment, because I'm like, oh no.
Yep.
I know who I am.
Yep.
So I've said this before, and I'll continue to say it so that it helps you understand. That is just a mindset. It's just a switch. It's just, you're sitting at the table and you still think you're an orphan.
Yeah.
And you're not.
Yes.
So get your mind right.
Get it right.
Get in the game.
Yeah.
Get your mind right.
Yep.
Okay.
That's good. Thank you for the side talk. That's important.
So,
because we're talking about the spiritual now.
Yeah.
And if we're going to equip these people, they need to know what their position is.
Yeah.
And you are a prince and a princess, and you're at the right hand, and you have that. So
you're an heir.
You're an heir.
And you have an assignment. You have an agenda within the kingdom, and you sit at the table and you get your papers and you know your assignment, and typically it's like, we know in part. So like, I know a part of my assignment, and it'll continue to unfold. But when somebody sits down at the table next to you and they're a narcissist, and they're gonna tamper with your stuff, and it's like, hey, whoa, they're sharing your plan, they're sharing your plot and your plans with the enemy. They're a spy in your camp. They're a snake in the grass. However you want to say it, however you want to paint it, you can't allow them to sit at your table, because you have heavenly assignments that they are going to try and tamper with. And so your authority is to say, one, to recognize. So this is just me. I recognize what category they fall in. So how much grace I can allow, basically. That's, accidental, clinical, just lets me know how much grace I can extend and how much proximity I can allow.
Yep.
And then especially if they're clinical and because I'm spiritual and this is a spiritual attack, now I'm like, toxic waste. I cannot tolerate you tampering with my life any longer.
Yep.
So the boundaries are just like, you don't have to allow anybody access to your life.
Yeah.
That does not mean you have to be cruel.
Yeah.
I'm not cruel to these people.
Yeah.
But the problem is they know, because when it's spiritual, they know. They know that you know. They know that you're not tolerating it anymore. They know that they've been put in a box. They hate it. That doesn't matter. Okay, I'm sorry. But like, you don't get access to my life. And most importantly, like, you don't get access to my vulnerability. Absolutely not. And I just need to keep you at a distance. And if you get past that border, there's going to be consequences. If you find ways to infiltrate back into my life and mess with my life and my plans and the call that God has on my life, then there's going to be consequences. And whatever those consequences are, like, it's such a case-by-case thing. There's so much nuance to this. For me, it's just like, I will no longer, for me, it's like, it won't be tolerated. Not called out, but like, I will name it.
Yeah.
I will not tolerate it.
Yeah.
And then I will let you know from there, even more severely, what's happening between us.
Yeah.
So then it will go to like, spiritual restraining order. Like, you're not allowed within 500 feet of me.
Yeah.
Does that make sense? It's like,
Yep.
there is just, I'm going to push you further out.
Yeah.
Because you can't just stay, you can't just stay near my dwelling and just keep the peace. You keep trying to tamper with me, so I'm going to push you even further out. Now there's a bridge, and now there's a gate, and now there's a moat, and now it's like all of this. I've gotten on this kingdom.
I love
mindset.
it. I already have another idea for an episode.
So this is how, now I'm just painting a picture. It's like you add another layer. It's not like consequences like, oh, you're going to jail, or, oh, I'm going to kill you, judge, jury, executioner, like we talked about with the prophet.
Yep.
That is like how I want to operate. But now it's just like, no, hey, you need to get out of my castle. No, it's like, let's go all the way back. You need to get up from this table.
Yeah.
You can't handle that? You need to get out. You can't handle that? Okay, now there's a bridge. Gosh, you keep trying to cross this bridge. I don't understand. I'm offering you so much. I'm allowing you to stay so close, and you keep crossing that bridge. Now there's a gate. You climbed over the gate. Good Lord. Now I got to put sharks in the moat, like what, how much until it's just like, finally they're so far that they really can't do anything.
Yeah.
They can't do anything.
Yeah.
And this is a metaphor for just how the safeguards that you need to put in place. At one point, this person had access to all of your vulnerability. You were texting on a regular basis. They were in your home. They were a part of your inner circle. Then they got pushed out because of their behavior. And they hated that. They worked their way back in. You got pushed them back out. Now it's like, hey, we don't text. We don't hang out one-on-one. We don't hang out in groups. Now I can't be around you, really. I can be kind to you if I see you. But then it's like, hey, zero contact, So like, I'm just painting a picture of what that metaphor could look like in real time in life.
I need to put a caution in there and explain what she's talking about. This is not you telling that person,
no, yes,
you're out of my inner circle.
That's a good point.
In fact, when you're working or dealing with a narcissist, any type, when you try to address it, it actually will turn around on you, and it makes it worse. You actually fuel it. So you're not saying, I'm no longer hanging out with you. You do that will 1,000,000% backfire on you.
Yeah.
It is fuel. to what's going on with them.
Yeah.
It is this metaphor is in your mind.
Yeah.
This is you making an agreement with yourself on how you will distance yourself.
Yeah.
But I do not, personal experience, you can correct this if you feel different. I do not recommend you verbalize like maybe the first couple of times.
Yeah.
You don't. I'm not telling the narcissist in my life right now. No. You have no access to me.
No,
because that person will take that and they will victimize themselves.
Right.
It affirms that you're the bad guy.
They'll try to bring other parties into
and they will try to bring.
Yeah.
So it's not you need to go to the narcissist in your life right now and tell them distance. No, it's you removing yourself. It's almost in the quiet.
Yeah.
But not in the quiet to where you're shrinking back and you're like no. It is. In your mind, I am not allowing you to have a seat at my table anymore.
Yeah.
In my mind, in my life.
Yeah.
But without telling them. You have to be careful with narcissists. A lot of things that you do in response or the way that you interact with people that are narcissists, they use it as a tool, as a weapon against you. So be mindful of that. Can you maybe...
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on it?
I will say that I've had to name consequences in the past.
Mm-hmm.
So I have made personal decisions to start creating boundaries, right? And those weren't discussed, right?
Yeah.
But then those boundaries were crossed, and after a boundary is crossed that I've laid, which just means they're trampling down the thing, your safeguards.
Yeah.
So then it's like, hey, when you do that, this is what's going to happen.
Yeah.
So let me just say, for like my dad, this is the best example. Like, when you show up unannounced, you are not going to get access to my life.
Yeah.
This is what I need from you. I need you to communicate. I need no surprises. I need it to be normal and planned out. So it's like, I've created this space. He doesn't know that. He doesn't know that. He thinks maybe he thinks I'm just ignoring him or we don't talk. But it's like, little by little, year by year, I've gotten more aware of how he affects me and how I don't want him to affect my children. So I've created this space. And then he comes in and he, this one scenario, comes on Christmas Eve and he's calling. And he's like, I'm in town. I want to see you. I want to see the kids. I'm like, when you operate like this, it lets me know that you're not healthy. And these are going to be the consequences. You're not going to see me. You're not going to see my kids. I allowed him. I found out when he was leaving and I found out like his flight information. And so I allowed him to come over. This is a couple days after Christmas, so I didn't allow him to come on Christmas Eve or Christmas Day because that was an infringement on my boundaries. Mm-hmm. That's too much of a sacred situation. So, okay, this is the day you're leaving. Okay, you can come over at this time because it's a certain amount of time before his flight. Mm-hmm. So I know exactly how much time. So it's like me saying, that is where I do communicate. This is a boundary and these are the consequences. Yeah. So sometimes you have to do that. I can imagine people with children with narcissists having to have a boundary mentally, emotionally, whatever. When it's crossed, name it. Like, hey, I need you to give me the key to the house because you can't just use your key anymore. Yeah. And walk in the house. Yeah. If you do that, like, I'm gonna have to change the locks. Mm-hmm. Does that make sense? Yep. So sometimes you do, but for the most part, and especially when it's not like, when we're talking about friendship relationships, if it's not somebody that had that much intimate access to you, then you are making these boundaries, not subconsciously, you are making these boundaries in your own life, in the quiet, in your own space. They are noticing though. Oh,
that's they notice, problem. Of course, because they're not getting, right. They're like trying to get closer and you're like, trying to get away, and they're like, but they don't. They're not being told what's going on, and it becomes this chase. And here's what I've seen: you keep moving, and you keep the distance, and you don't let them in. Eventually, they will tire out. They will probably act out first, and they'll get angry, and they'll try to. They'll come after, but eventually, they'll see, oh, this person over here in my life, I can get access to, and they'll change who they're focusing on a lot of times
on.
because they're feeding off of it and
Yeah.
it's fueling something in them and they need it. And if they're not going to get it from you, they'll act out and they may cause some chaos, but eventually they're going to see that, oh, there's this person over here that I can actually feed off of and I can do this with and I can control and I can, and so then it starts with somebody else. That's what I've seen anyways.
And it starts with somebody else, or they pick people that are in proximity to you.
Absolutely.
And that's typically like when it's spiritual, I see that a lot, because it's like they can't affect you, so now they're going to start tampering and getting close to and gaining access with people that are in proximity to you.
Yep.
And then if that doesn't work, which typically it does, because everybody's charmed, then and it's like, if people only, like, you can't control other people's relationships, but if these people were aware of the agenda, then they wouldn't fall for it so easily. Because it's like, from a narcissist perspective, if this person's got you in a box and you're labeled toxic waste in their life, but you're labeled sweet honey to the people that are closest to them, man, that's painful.
Yeah.
It's like, wow, that person is literal poison and you're drinking it in like honey.
Yep.
And it is honey to you. Mm-hmm. It's so it's like you're in a warped reality.
I've said that already today.
You're just like,
you're in their reality.
And you're like, really?
You drank the Kool-Aid.
But literally it's sweet and it's so good and you're drinking it and it's fine and it's not affecting you. If I take a sip of that, it will kill me.
Yeah.
It's poison to me.
Ooh,
and it might develop into a poison for you. Right now it's Kool-Aid. But how could you not know? If it was poison to one, why would you even... Okay, so that's a cool picture to paint. You're sitting at the table, you got this chalice, you take a sip, that person dies. Why would you take a sip of it?
Yeah.
Well, I'm thinking like, security, taste that for me.
Yeah, right.
Taste that, one sip a day for 6 months. Let's see if it's not covert, subtle poison.
Yeah. Oh, I do like that.
Anyways, anywho.
Well, I've been thinking about the example of toxic waste and something that I think we could address. Do you have, something we could address is, can you change a narcissist? Can you change a narcissist?
No.
We talked about it. You brought up the fact that through Christ.
Yeah. Transformation.
All things are possible.
Absolutely.
But is it my job?
No.
Because there are some people that are fixers.
Yeah.
They want to be a fixer.
Yeah.
They want to have resolution. They want the solution. They want the Christian that is the evangelist and I've got to change this person, or that maybe they're not an evangelist, but they think that it is their job to change this person.
Yeah.
Let's talk about Christians. Let's just leave it at Christians and this duty we feel to see people's lives improved and changed. This is also a part of Christianity where it's like, as Christians, it's not our job to change people.
No.
It's to lead them
to the one who
changes them.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's a whole other episode.
Yeah.
But as a Christian, is it my job to try to change this person? Because this is where the idea for this point of the conversation came up. You can't change the fact that toxic waste is toxic waste.
Right.
It is poison forever.
Right.
You'll never change it.
Right.
Ever.
Right.
You can't manipulate it.
Right.
It is what it is.
Right.
So can I change it? Can I change a narcissist?
No, you can't, and you shouldn't ever try. It's not your responsibility, and that's just damaging to you. It's just a waste of your time, a waste of your life. You can pray for their transformation, but even if they experience transformation, that still doesn't change. Like, toxic waste could go and get purified, right?
Yeah.
And then it could be pure drinking water for someone else. But that doesn't change your situation. That doesn't change the traumatic effect that they had on your life. And so that therefore doesn't also change whether they should have access to you or not. Somebody could experience transformation and you could have them back in your life. That would be something that you would have to walk through with the Lord. But there could also be people that experience transformation and you're like, honestly, praise God. But that is not, I still can't I still can't have it in my life.
Wait, it's okay that you don't let people back in your life?
Yeah,
As
it's
a Christian?
absolutely, yeah,
Like,
it's absolutely okay, because God is already going to call you to do enough radical things, radical forgiveness, radical, like you're going to have to forgive people that have harmed you. You're going to have to do a lot of things, and you're going to have to forgive the unforgivable, and you have to work through with God what that looks like. But for me, it's like, it's not people that are actively or have been in a position of actively trying to ruin my life or my assignment, whether they can admit to it or not. When somebody tries to silence you because what you carry upsets them so much, then like you've got to create some space there. So I want to bring up these two things. Okay, so I've heard this read in a podcast before, and I wanted to bring it up. A really good definition of narcissism from a biblical perspective. And once again, I heard this in a podcast, so I'm just going to mention it. 2 Timothy 3:1-2. And actually just keep going on, but like, there will be terrible times in the last days. People will be lovers of themselves, lovers of money, boastful, proud, abusive. So it keeps going on. That segment explains a spiritual narcissist from my perspective. They love money, they love themselves, they're boastful, they're proud, they're abusive. They all of the ways that it explains it. I loved that was pulled in that podcast, so I'm placing it here because I want people to be able to look at it biblically and see it and kind of diagnose it biblically. But, I posted something about the way you're silenced as a Christian from narcissism, because you could be told, like, you're not forgiving, you gaslight yourself, you don't want to go through the rigmarole of like, oh, let's talk through it. And so what we've done here in this episode is I've named some things, I've shared some things. So I had somebody on this post ask, like, and this is somebody that we love, we have a relationship with, and I love this dialogue. She said, what's the difference between like basically sharing your truth versus gossip? Yep. So for me, it's like, I think of it in terms of, obviously there's always going to be a time when you have to submit yourself to the Lord. And I've probably crossed this boundary in getting free from silence. Maybe I've crossed the boundary a couple times. Yeah. And then God convicts you and you have to work through it and you have to deal with it. I think you have to be, once again, you have to be wrong in order to figure out how to be like purified, right? Yeah. I think somebody's silenced for so long, they're bound to kind of cross some boundaries once they start speaking. I get it. Like, I would rather you cross some boundaries, God convict you, and hone how you speak, and you know what I mean? Like, I'd rather him massage through that than you remain silent the rest of your life. Gossip is like, let me try. To me, this is the difference. I am trying to destroy them through my words, versus I am sharing how they hurt me, and this is my testimony.
So it goes to intent?
Probably. I don't know. Sometimes you're seeking maybe validation. Am I crazy? This is what I experienced. But if it's your experience, it's yours to share. Once again, so it's like, let's just say this: abuse. Yeah. Right? Physical abuse, sexual abuse. You don't say to those people, hey, well, I mean, in the past, this was very common. It would be like, hey, we don't talk about that. We don't keep that quiet, right? That's a no-no in today's world, in today's society. Yep. You don't tell victims to remain quiet. Yeah. Because you wouldn't say, you just shared about your sexual assault, like, super gossipy. Yeah. You would never say that to a victim. Never. Why? So why is that language, when you've been abused and you're sharing it? Like, even for me, I'm sharing pieces of abuse. I'm not naming names. I'm not on the news, front page of the newspaper saying, this person harmed me. I'm just sharing my story. If there's people that know these people, I think you also have to be careful with that. But there's been times recently where I'm like, you know what? This is the flip of the coin. This is where in that same comments, I was like, well, what is the difference between lying by omission or, just being what category? It's not like it's like, hey, being honorable, being whatever it's labeled in Christian culture, where it's like they hurt you or they messed up, but we don't need to go airing their dirty laundry. That's their story to tell. All of that is true, right? But what if they messed up, they did this, they did that, but they also have hurt you, have harmed you. And my question is like, so aren't you lying by omission if you know the type of person that they are and you see other people engaging in relationship with them? Me waiting until those people are also harmed until I can even shed any bit of light on how to heal from that. I have to basically, as a Christian, I have to wait until somebody else is hurt too to share my story, because otherwise it's gossip.
Or
a slander. No, I'm sorry.
Because all that does is protect the abuser.
It protects the abuser. This is abuser protection clauses that are hardwired into Christianity.
Yeah.
And God is not pleased with that.
Yeah.
In today's world, what is happening to abusers right now in Christian culture today? They are being called out left and right. They are being identified. God is shaking the church, shaking his body, and he is saying enough is enough.
Yeah.
I think about being a female pastor in today's world. It's interesting because people are like, oh, women can't preach. It's like, well, if the men would stop touching God's beloved, then maybe he wouldn't need to utilize the voices of women.
Yeah.
But, let's be quiet. Let's not talk about that. Let's shame women for speaking in the church, but let's never say anything about the men that are abusing their congregation.
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
What is that?
Yeah.
So so that's exactly. You have to work with God and allow him to convict you on what you can say and what you cannot say. I went a little off the handle in a couple situations where I was like, you know what? That didn't feel good when I left that conversation. That didn't feel good, and so I need to keep it clean. I need to clean it up. Typically, it's about your intent or the way those people are carrying it. That fed some sort of beast in them. So I don't like the way that felt. If you share it and that person held space for you, was empathetic towards you, they offered you a kindness and they attuned to your story, that is safe. That's safety. If somebody fed off of it, that might be more in the realm of gossip. Does that make sense?
Yes.
And so you just have to be careful. And if you're no longer silenced, you're going to maybe mess up. But that's better than us creating a society where victims must be silent.
Yeah.
It's not okay. And here's the thing. I don't like victimhood or victim mentality, but you stay in it the more you're silent. You become a survivor when you speak, right? So it's like we don't look at the women that are standing up and saying this abuse and this abuse, and we're not like, oh, that poor victim. We're like, she's a survivor.
Yeah.
There's a difference.
Yeah.
You're a victim when you're like, oh, forever and ever and ever and ever and ever and ever. But when you're like, hey, this is what happened to me, and this is what I will never tolerate again, and I'm speaking up because I don't want it to happen anymore. That's a survivor.
Yes.
So you were a victim of abuse, but you are not a victim perpetually.
Yeah.
You are a survivor.
Yeah.
And there's a difference.
Yeah.
And so, I'm not going to lie by omission anymore.
Yeah.
If I see something, I say something, right?
Yeah.
Shouldn't that be how we are?
And we teach our kids that.
See something, say something.
Yep.
And you know what? It doesn't have to be say this. That person is a horrible piece of trash and we must condemn them. Let's honestly just take them to the middle of the town.
Tar and feather them.
Right? No, it's like, hey, I just want to let you know that I've had some pretty toxic experiences with this person. And I just want you to be careful. I want you to be mindful. I'm feeling something. I'm kind of discerning something. And I just want you to be careful. I don't want this to affect anything other than just awareness.
Yeah.
Just be careful. Or how about this? This person really, really hurt this person. And you sit down with them and they're sharing with you all of their pain. Are you going to be like, oh, I can't say anything because that's gossip? No. Hey, yeah, that happened to me too. You know how I named my sexual assault finally? Because I sat down with a girl. And I said, and she was somebody I knew from high school. She was studying to be a therapist. And so we were having some commonality, some common ground. So we were geeking out about stuff, right? We're having lunch, we're geeking out. So I'm like, you know what? Something that I've been kind of touching a little bit and getting close to naming is this thing with this person. And she was like, oh, that's interesting. When was that? I was like, oh, it was freshman year. Oh, did you know that 8th grade year, he did that same thing to a girl? And the school got notified because it was at a party and, you know, parents needed to be aware. And I was like, oh, so I was number 2. So that made it more real. Mm-hmm. That made it more valid. And everyone who was at that field that night that didn't tell me, they were lying to me by omission.
By omission.
And I became a victim that night because no one said anything.
Yeah.
Because I fell for the safety that I felt in the love bombing and it was friendly fire. It was not romantic love bombing. It was friendly. Mm-hmm. And it's still very hard for me to like just fully go there because this is just a part of my story that for so many years was my fault. I drank for the first time. I got blackout drunk and I did something I shouldn't have.
Yeah.
But I was a victim.
Yeah.
And
people at the party didn't say anything because they ultimately were protecting him.
Or just...
whether they knew it or not.
Protecting a good time. Protecting the environment.
Protecting the environment, which is, oh, Jesus.
Yeah. They weren't even protecting him. They were just saying, this is all fun. We're all having fun. And I don't want to change this vibe. So we're just going to not say anything.
We're having our church is growing. People are coming.
Yeah.
Tithes are going up.
Yeah.
We're getting more small group stuff. Like, things are good. We're getting more popular on Instagram. We can't talk about what's going on because it'll ruin all of it.
Or what happened in the past because maybe he's changed. Mm-hmm. Maybe he's changed. So, yeah, we'll let him take her to a place where she can use the bathroom.
Might need to be a whole episode.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. It's like, what is gossip? Would it have been gossip for my friend to say to me, hey, just so you know, last year he assaulted a girl when she was blackout drunk. So no, that wouldn't have been gossip. That would have been
a warning,
a kindness.
Yeah.
Instead, it's like, are you sure that happened when I'm laying in your lap and you're picking burrs out of my hair?
Yeah.
Are you sure? Like, I don't know.
Yeah.
Okay, so what are we talking about?
Yeah.
I'd rather somebody who's been violated in any way err on the side of... Now, there are relationships where, hey, you got to keep quiet for a period of time or it's just not worth it. And you get to make that choice. 1,000%. You get to be... You get to make that choice. If you don't want to speak, your silence is your choice. If it's not your choice, it's still abuse. Period. That's all. That's, for me, you get to choose whether you speak or not. I'm not saying all people in all situations always have to speak. I'm just saying all people in all situations have the choice.
Have the choice, yeah.
And that's where I'll leave that.
Yeah, that's good.
So... this is a big episode, and that experience is, that is such a, I still haven't like sat down and talked with a lot of people in my life about that situation, but that's the culture that we create. We protect abusers, and then nothing ever gets said, and then people get more and more people get hurt,
and then people just live in shame for the things that happen to them, and it just becomes this cycling.
Yeah. And or just like, I don't want to be a victim, so I don't want to name it that, because then and it's like, why have we once again, it's like victim sounds worse than abuser.
Yeah.
We've created a culture where it's like, you don't want to be a victim. No, you don't, for sure. Of course not.
Yeah.
But abuser is like, hey, we protect you.
Which is so funny because it's the abusers that oftentimes play the victim card.
Yeah.
Especially with narcissists.
Yeah.
They turn the narrative around on them.
Yeah.
To protect their image, to protect...
Yeah.
Yeah. It's just... there's a lot to unpack with that. Continue to. This is a big episode.
Yeah.
It's a hot topic right now. It's a hot topic. I think narcissism as a whole, and again, I told you this, I was like, I don't know if it's just my algorithm because I'm dealing with some narcissism in my life, so it's like, seems to always be coming up, probably the algorithm, but it also does seem to be talked about widely too, people using that term to name things in people. And I think it goes back to the 2 Timothy, and it's in these times. That it's just these times that we're in. Truly. Like you look at that scripture and you could see that running rampant in our culture. And maybe it has been forever, but we just are becoming where the language is being developed.
Right.
People are speaking up more.
Yeah.
That's what we do on this podcast.
Yeah.
We want to create a space to talk about uncomfortable topics and so that people can be able to connect with it, identify with it, and then be able to go to God with it. And it's a lot.
So we'll see what if the Lord asks us to tap on this again. We have other episodes to release, other episodes to record. We have some cool and exciting things coming up with starting to like navigate into guests and having guests on our podcast, which we're excited about. But let me just end with this. I just want to let you know, kingdom people, your assignment is far too powerful. Your assignment is far too important. Your function in the body of Christ is far too important to be immobilized by narcissistic abusers in your life, because it's immobilizing. It makes you pause and freeze and tighten and constrict, and it's like the Leviathan, that constrictive. So another episode, but like I just want you to know that it is okay to start making some distance happen between you and people that fall into this category. It's okay to put up some safeguards. It's okay to protect your peace. It's okay to protect your assignment. It's okay to name things. I would seek safe spaces for you to do that. And as always, we'll say this time and time again, we are both safe spaces. You can reach out, touch base, connect with us, and we will create space for you if that is something that is needed for you. We do have an event coming up in February, Awaken the Bride, and that event is going to be February 2026. That event is going to be awesome. There's going to be a retreat attached to that. So if any of this is feeling like, maybe stirring things up from relationships past or stirring things up in relationships present, as far as you all of a sudden kind of being aware, I just want to say, like, there's places of safety, and I know we are, and any environment we create is a place of safety. So, I just speak that Jesus is going to illuminate things to you right now, but I just speak a peace over you, a clarity over you, a pattern identifying authority and gift just be over you right now, so that you can kind of create that space that's needed, and that Jesus be with you and ever present with you in every step of this process, that he begin to heal that sore and be the salve to your wound, be the antidote to the poison that you've been drinking, and he just heal you, heal your heart, heal your mind, break the agreements that you've made, and bring you to a place of wholeness, a place of sonship, where you sit at the table and you know who you are, and you know who is no longer allowed at your table, because you have that right. So,
Amen.
Amen.
Bye.
Bye.